We are witnessing crimes against humanity by Hasina regime in Bangladesh. In the last 10 days, the Hasina regime has unleashed a brutal crackdown on its own people. Bangladesh Police, Border Guard Bangladesh, RAB, and some members of Bangladesh military have committed crimes against humanity. The scale of brutality is staggering, with reports of mass murder, random arrests, and enforced disappearances. The official death toll stands at over 200, but we have reasons to believe that the true number is much higher, beyond thousands. Hospitals have been pressured to hide the evidence. Law enforcement agencies have confiscated the death registers of major hospitals. Despite the regime's attempts to cover up the truth, the world is bearing witness to the horror that is unfolded. Dhaka is a city of corpses. We don't have the accurate picture as of now, as the internet speed is slow and restricted. What we are witnessing is beyond words. The sheer scale of brutality by Bangladesh police and other law enforcement agencies is unimaginable. Footage shows innocent bystanders being gunned down by police. Children as young as 14 lying lifeless on the streets, their brains splattered on the pavement. Mothers frantically searching for their sons. Fathers desperately scouring hospitals for any sign of life. One mother was wailing over the dead body of her son, saying she is proud that her son fought against the monster, Sheikh Hasina. The images are reminiscent of war zones. The regime's use of force has been indiscriminate, targeting protesters and innocent civilians alike. We have video footage showing innocent people walking in the street, not involved in the protest, just passing by, shot by the police for no reason. Armored vehicles bearing United Nations insignia have been used to kill innocent people on the streets of Bangladesh. Dead body of a student was carelessly discarded on the street like a lifeless animal from an armored vehicle. The horror is that we are told this boy was still alive when he was thrown out. The police and Awami League party men are storming into homes in suburban neighborhoods. They were seen to shoot randomly. I remember a boy I knew from my school 30 years ago, full of promise and hope. He has grown up to become a uniformed killer, wielding a submachine gun on the streets of Dhaka. I saw him shooting at protesters with a submachine gun. This Lieutenant Colonel has participated in peacekeeping missions with the United Nations. Leaders of the student protest movement have been rounded up and brutally tortured. Asif Mahmood was subjected to 4 days of drugging and abuse before being dumped on the streets. Thousands have been detained or disappeared, leaving their families with no idea if they are alive or dead. The internet was shut down for 6 days to facilitate this brutal crackdown, leaving the world in dark about the true extent of this carnage. Spokesperson for the Hasina regime and military generals claim that order has been restored and that life is returning to normal. But nothing could be further from the truth. Every dictator in the world claimed that everything is in order 5 minutes before everything fell apart. This nation will never go back to normalcy. It has been permanently scarred. Our children were not murdered by military from another country. Our own police and military have massacred our children. This nation is occupied by Hasina's regime and her fellow mass murderers. In history, They say that nothing happens in decades and then decades happen in days. Well, in the last 10 days, Bangladesh has changed forever. A new fault line has emerged, and this line will stay for decades and get wider. On one side is the mass murderer Hasina regime. On the other is the entire nation united against them. From every corner of this nation, a resounding cry echoes through the streets: Hasina must step down. It's a plea that cannot be silenced, a demand for justice that has been amplified by this brutal crackdown that has ravaged this country. Hasina regime has lost all moral authority. They have killed people from all walks of life. Students, boys and girls, rich and poor, BNP activists, Hindu and journalists. A massacre that has left this nation reeling in shock and horror. If you are a stakeholder and someone important in relation to Bangladesh, I ask you, do you think these mass murderers who kill their own people should be allowed to participate in United Nations peacekeeping missions abroad? They get weapons, trainings, and experience from abroad with your money. Then they kill their own people, whatever your conscience says. I urge you to act upon it. To my fellow Bangladeshis, I urge you to take action. Boycott every institution and business interest that aligns with this regime. Just don't buy their products. Don't send remittances to Bangladesh. Your money would be used to kill your own brother. I personally thank countless protesters from Kolkata who stood in solidarity with our students. We thank Indian activists who raised their voices. We all want Indian establishment to realize that it needs to adopt new rules of engagement with Bangladesh. Backing up a murdering dictator, a hated dictator, is no longer tenable. It doesn't look good. Your interests in Bangladesh will be irreparably damaged if you continue to support Sheikh Hasina. No matter what happens in coming days, running this nation will become insurmountably difficult for Sheikh Hasina. The economy will come to a halt if she stays. Bangladesh's biggest revenue source is remittance, and there is a storm coming from abroad in the guise of remittance shutdown. Foreign direct investment will come to a standstill if this regime stays in power. People have already taken a decision. They are prepared to go to a war against Hasina regime, and Hasina herself has vowed vengeance. She and her cronies must be put on trial for their crimes against humanity. People often don't realize this. If there is a need and she can get out unscathed, she is the kind of person who will actually kill half this nation if India and Bangladeshi military continue to support her. I don't say this lightly, I mean it. She would destroy this nation to rule over its ashes. The good news is, she has united this nation against herself. I've never seen anything quite like this. Non-resident Bangladeshis from all walks of life have united against this brutal dictator. No matter what happens, we will bring these people to justice. Entire nation has vowed to bring these monsters and criminals to justice. It's a watershed moment for this nation. This revolution will not be silenced. Inqilab Zindabad.